A year ago this week. I'm sure it felt like it flew by with everything you had to do, but now that we're in the off season, so to speak, can you reflect on that? Wow, that was a long and a lot of accomplished in that year.
Yeah, I mean it's nice that we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of getting here and being a part of University of Washington football and the University of Washington period. But it certainly feels like now I'm able to look back and really reflect on what we did well, what we need to improve upon, and also have a little bit of time to figure out how are we going to get the program going in the direction we want. Last year, everything was such a race.
Right. Well, then that's my next two questions right there. Let's talk about the race first. I mean, we're not just talking about all the roster changes. We're talking about the new league. I don't have to tell you. How did you have to try and navigate that to get to the field in August? Because it's not that easy to do with all that new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was so unique. 44 scholarship players, no coaches. When I got here, we brought in our own strength staff. We brought in all of our own coaches. At this point in time, I didn't even have a defensive coordinator. I didn't have a safeties coach. We wound up didn't have a linebacker coach. Made those hires in February. We were going on the road recruiting while I was still meeting our team, trying to navigate a portal, that window that lasted another 30 days because of the coaching change. So there was just so much happening, and then you had to get ready for spring ball, and then you have personal things going on as well, and you're trying to move your family, and you're trying to take care of some things back at home. So the race really felt like it never ended, really until after the Sun Bowl. And then we've kind of taken this week after the Sun Bowl, kind of figure out life, and then now figure out a way to go compete.
I think a lot of people will hear that, and even me, but we still don't have a grasp on how crazy that really is to navigate. Can you describe that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to describe exactly unless you're living through it, but you know, the goal here is to have 85 scholarship players. So when you only have 44, you have to find 40 players. You also have to keep players that we're considering leaving. You have to get players that you don't know much about. You have to hire staff, and you don't just hire on a first interview. You're trying to interview guys and bring in 4 or 5 guys in per position and trying to dedicate time there. We're traveling all over the country to bring players in. We're really working hard on selling who we are, telling the team that's here why they should believe in us, telling guys on other programs that were available why they should come here, and then also try to organize a system of academics, a system of doing things right off the field, a system of leadership, and when you're trying to put all that together in once, it's pretty challenging.
I bet. Given all that, you've gotten through it. You mentioned a minute ago trying to figure out the next step for this program. Now that you've had that maybe couple days to breathe a little bit, well, what is that vision? What is that, I don't want to say goal because we all have the same goal, right? But what is that vision for that next step for this program?
Yeah, you know, we talk a lot we've talked a lot this past week, is that it starts within. It starts within these walls, starts within the locker room, starts within right here, on how good do you want to get. And it starts with our culture. We have to become a more connected team. It starts with committing more to the daily grind, to be able to go out there and have your best, Saturday every Saturday. We talk about getting to know one another. How do you really build strong relationships so you're ready to fight for your brother next to you? We are going to have another 40 new players. So we're continuing to revamp our roster. We have our coaches all out on the road recruiting, starting tomorrow again. Today's a dead period. And then they'll be back out for the final 12 days of the month. So it's a constant churn. We're hiring new coaches. We brought in a new defensive coordinator. And as we're continuing to change the program, we believe we're improving, and we're excited about it.
Me personally, I was struck, and one of the reasons I'm really excited to talk to you about today, I was struck by the way you guys rallied at the end. You got the win you needed for the bowl game. Things started coming together. Listen, every coach wants to win every game, right? But how that effort to come together at the end, how proud did that get you, especially after everything you had to kind of weather through that we just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, you get a new conference, you don't really know the opponents very well. You got a new team, they don't know each other very well, and now you have a chance to go beat Michigan early in the year, and then the second half of the year to beat USC, to beat UCLA to get to a bowl game, to go down 14 points in the bowl game, and then have a chance to win it with 1 second left or 7 seconds left. play with a freshman. So as we were evolving as a program, we were evolving as a team, we were beginning to buy more and more into what we were trying to get done. And as that was happening, I feel good about where we can go. We all want to win more, but there's so much more to it than that in year one, and building the foundation of where we want to be was really important.
I wanted to say, when it comes to the bowl game, I don't think I've ever seen a program that maybe fell short in the bowl game with this much optimism after it from their fan base.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on why a second ago, but do you feel that as well? That it was a nice rally, but there was a lot of things that really, this is what the future, at least from the outside perspective, it felt like, this is what this thing can be going forward.
Oh yeah, I mean, I felt great about the fact, obviously, for DeMond's second start ever to have 5 touchdowns, four in the air, 1 on the ground. Jonah Coleman and Adam Muhammad and Jordan Washington all playing, all coming back next year. Denzel Boston not being able to play the second half of the game, or the fourth quarter of the game, but the amount of production we've gotten from Denzel, having him as a key part for next year. The fact that Decker DeGraff continues to make plays, and yet we brought in, we also have Quentin Moore coming back, and Kane Eldridge coming in, and you start looking at the offensive line. Max McCree had his first return back after 5 weeks, and the youth out there, Landon Hatchett played his first game ever at center. That's all just on the offensive side. On the defensive side, what we're able to get done and what we plan on getting done with Ward and Durfee and Davis, and then bringing in guys with Price Sock and Takario Davis on the perimeter, and McKell coming back, and Vince Holmes. I just feel like we have a really, really good team right now that wants to be good. We've added a lot of parts. We've added a lot of people. We also have a ton of freshmen.
Yeah.
And we're excited. We got a 20-game win streak. We got to continue to sell out, and then we got to go on the road and start getting some wins.
It's a heck of a foundation, right? That's got to be something you can sell on the road, and not even something you sell, they can see it, right? That's pretty evident to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody sees, the success we have at home. It's the second longest home win streak behind Georgia. We got challenges ahead of us next year in all those games. But we also have to win on the road. We also have to find ways to get some of those tough wins. And, the best way to win on the road is bring a good team. And I think we have a good team. And I'm really excited about being able to take that team to some of those places next year.
We talked about DeMond a minute ago, and he's one guy in a team of 40, soon to be 85. But, the way he showed that leadership at the end for QB1, I mean, you're smiling.
Yeah, he's one guy, but he's the quarterback. So there is a difference. And that quarterback, obviously, is how he goes is how the team will go. How he plays will be how the team plays. And his ability to lead, the emotion he showed after the game told me how much he was committed. The desire to get back out here and throw and lift and run already. The intelligence that he has to be able to see what he saw. He only had 8 quarters as a starting quarterback, right? And those 8 quarters, he evolved each quarter. He talked more and more and more about what to do and how to get better. So altogether, I have a great enthusiasm, and I'm very encouraged about him as well as the rest of our team.
One of my favorite things that you said last year, and you said a lot of cool things, obviously, but you said NFL over NAL more important. I'm curious to how that kind of helped with the identity of the program, but also how that was, based on your recruiting class, it seems like it was well received, but how that's received when you go into a living room and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because NIL matters, and, guys want to get paid, and guys are seeing other guys get paid, and, everybody compares. No one, it's all perfect to say everybody's intrinsically motivated, not worried about money, not worried about what others are making, but that's not really the world we're in. So, I believe that we can develop players. I believe we can coach players to be at the highest level, to understand what it's going to take to win. On the same token, we got to pay players to be competitive in this market. So yes, we do sell the NFL far more than NIL. We spend a lot less time talking about money than a lot of programs I know. We spend a lot more time talking about the NFL than a lot of programs I know. But on the same token, in the end, that decision is going to come down to finances for the kids and their families, as well as football. And we've got to make sure that they understand the value of both.
And certainly the hope is that there's regulation coming down the line. But how do you navigate this NIL world, which is just kind of like the wild, wild west at this point, where every program's kind of got a different thing as to what they can do?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that this will be the last year that will be living in a world of crazy. where people can front load contracts and people can say, hey, we're going to pay all this money up front and then use our revenue share dollars because we're going to circumvent the system. I think that's going to be over soon. And I think we're going to be able to start looking at what's the practical and appropriate way to compensate your players to bring revenue to your program. That is the idea here. The reason why we're paying them is because we're all making money because of them. But it's not about just passing the hat and seeing how much you can get. And I hope we can get to the point where we have a regulated system where everybody receives the appropriate number.
1 year in, how do you feel embraced by Husky Nation and how it's gone in that respect, being out in our community and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I'm 50% embraced. I'm embraced after every win. No, I think it's been great. I love it here. My family and I are so excited to really have a year where now, we could turn the page. We got to a bowl game. We were able to do some things that were cool in the Big Ten. We were able to have the first ever Big Ten home game and win the game. We were able to beat the team that beat the team in the national championship. We were able to beat SC and UCLA. We were able to take care of business in some regards, but there's a lot of work that still has to be done. Off the field, we're so excited to be a part of this community, to be a part of this program, and really we need to be more involved. We need to be more active out there. I'm excited for our players, our family, our staff to really be a part of Seattle.
And that's just it. Seattle sports in general went over such turnover in 2024. Seahawks, Mariners, Kraken, yourself, all new coaches here. What does it mean you can be a part of that stability, hopefully, for a while to come for sports fans here in town?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is that it's a familiar face out there. And we need more of that. I know Coach McDonald believes the same thing I do over in Seattle. And they've done a great job as well. He did a great job in his first year. So we're both excited about next year. But on the same token, we're good to have that little bit of a break to get it going.
Is there like a relationship with you guys that's coming into?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Coach. I'm a big fan of how he does things over there. I think he's one of the best defensive coaches there is. Clearly, he did a great job as a head football coach in that league. It's so hard to win. And I just admire him from afar and fortunate enough to have a relationship with him as well.
I suspect a lot of dogs will be watching because we're airing this tonight and it's right after President Biden's farewell address. So there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it. So I want to give you an opportunity. A lot of dogs out there watching. What's your message to them after they've heard this conversation about the vision? Anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think that we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate to all be Huskies, and we're very fortunate to be in the Big Ten. And with the Big Ten, there are obstacles and there's challenges and there's all the issues that come into national travel and going against some of the biggest programs in the country. But we're so happy to be a part of this, and we want the biggest investment we can make from the community. Come to the games, cheer on the team, be a big fan of the program. And as their fans, more players want to come here, more players want to be embraced, more players want to use our community to our advantage, and we've got the greatest community. Let's take advantage of it.